My child. Stop for a moment. This message found you for a reason. There is something unusual surrounding your energy right now, and what you are about to hear connects directly to the title that brought you here. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Last night was not supposed to be important. It began like any other evening. Your person was spending time with their brother. The atmosphere felt relaxed. The conversations moved from one topic to another. Memories were being shared. Old stories were being revisited. Laughter came and went. Nothing seemed extraordinary. And then, your name appeared. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Just quietly. Almost accidentally. But the moment your name entered the conversation, everything shifted. Your person tried to brush past it at first. They acted casual. They pretended it was not a big deal. Yet their brother noticed something immediately. He noticed the pause. He noticed the change in expression. He noticed the way your person became strangely quiet. And that was when he asked a question. A simple question. One question that nobody expected would lead anywhere. Why do you always react differently when their name comes up? Silence followed. A long silence. The kind of silence that reveals more than words ever could. Your person looked away. Their brother waited. The room suddenly felt different. And what happened next became the beginning of something nobody saw coming. Stay with me. Because this is where the story starts to become extraordinary. Their brother had been watching for a long time. Longer than your person realized. Longer than anyone realized. Sometimes the people around us notice things before we do. Sometimes they see patterns that we are too close to recognize ourselves. And that is exactly what happened. Their brother leaned forward. His expression changed. The joking atmosphere disappeared. The casual conversation disappeared. And he said something that instantly captured your person's attention. He said, "You know what's strange?" Your person laughed nervously. What? The brother shook his head slowly. No matter what happens in your life, you always come back to talking about them. Silence. Again. The words landed harder than expected. Because deep down, your person knew there was truth inside them. Not a little truth. A lot of truth. Maybe even more truth than they wanted to admit. The brother continued. You've met many people. You've had many conversations. You've had many distractions. But somehow their name never disappears. Your person tried to change the subject. They tried to laugh it off. But something was happening inside them. Something was beginning to wake up. Because the brother wasn't finished. Not even close. And what he said next would become the moment everything changed. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The brother looked directly at your person. Then he said words that seemed to stop time. I don't think you've ever gotten over them. No response. Not immediately. Just silence. The kind of silence that reveals hidden emotions. The kind of silence that appears when someone hears a truth they have been avoiding. Your person stared at the floor. Their heart was racing. Because for the first time, someone had spoken out loud what they had been trying not to think about. The brother wasn't attacking. He wasn't judging. He wasn't criticizing. He was simply observing. And sometimes observation carries more power than advice. You keep acting like you've moved on. But every time I hear you talk about them, your voice changes. You become different. You become real. The room felt smaller. The conversation felt heavier. And something inside your person began to crack. Not in a bad way. In an honest way. Because honesty can be uncomfortable. But honesty can also change everything. The brother sat back and continued. You know what I think? Your person looked up. For some reason, they suddenly needed to hear the answer. And what came next would remain in their mind long after the night ended. The brother smiled slightly. Then he said, I think they're still the person who matters most. Everything stopped. The conversation. The laughter. The distractions. Everything. Because those words hit a place your person had been protecting for a very long time. A place nobody was supposed to see. A place nobody was supposed to understand. Yet somehow, the brother understood. And that realization changed everything. What made this moment even more powerful was what happened afterward. The brother didn't rush. He didn't fill the silence. He simply waited. And in that waiting, your person was forced to face thoughts they had avoided for months. Maybe longer. Thoughts about missed opportunities. Thoughts about unfinished conversations. Thoughts about feelings that never truly disappeared. Stay till the end. Because this is only the beginning. The brother eventually spoke again. His voice was calm. Almost gentle. And he said something your person will never forget. You keep searching for signs. You keep looking for answers. You keep wondering why you can't forget. Maybe the reason is simple. Your person looked up. What reason? The brother smiled. And then he delivered the sentence that changed the entire direction of the night. Maybe you're not supposed to. Silence. Pure silence. Because suddenly everything felt different. The past felt different. The present felt different. Even the future felt different. The brother wasn't telling your person what to do. He wasn't predicting anything. He wasn't making promises. He was simply revealing an observation. An observation that had been hiding in plain sight. And for some reason, that observation felt impossible to ignore. The rest of the night continued. The conversation moved on. Other topics appeared. Other stories were told. Yet your person wasn't really listening anymore. Their mind had gone somewhere else. Back to memories. Back to moments. Back to feelings. Back to you. And that is where we will continue. Because what happened after this conversation is even more surprising than the conversation itself. Something began shifting inside your person. A realization. A question. A truth. One that had been waiting quietly beneath the surface. And when that truth finally rises completely, nothing will feel the same. A strange feeling followed your person after that conversation ended. The room was the same. The night was the same. Nothing around them had changed. Yet somehow, everything felt different. The brothers' words kept replaying again and again inside their mind. Not because they were dramatic. Not because they were shocking. But because they were true. Sometimes the simplest truth becomes the hardest thing to ignore. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the night grew quieter, your person found themselves remembering details they thought they had forgotten. Small moments. Small conversations. Small memories connected to you. The kind of memories that seem insignificant until one day they suddenly return and reveal how important they always were. What happened next surprised even them. Their brother had already moved on to other topics, but your person could not. Every sentence somehow led back to you. Every thought somehow returned to your name. And eventually the brother noticed it again. He looked over and smiled knowingly. Then he said something that made your person completely speechless. You know what the real difference is? Your person asked, what? The brother answered, when you talk about anyone else, you're telling a story. When you talk about them, you're telling the truth. The moment those words were spoken, your person's expression changed. Because deep down, they knew exactly what he meant. There was something different about you. Something they could never explain properly. Something that had stayed with them even when life became busy. Even when distractions appeared. Even when they convinced themselves they had moved forward. Stay till the end. Because the next realization changed everything. The brother leaned back and continued speaking. His voice became calmer than before. Almost reflective. I think you've been waiting for something. Your person frowned. Waiting for what? The answer came immediately.
A reason to stop pretending. Silence returned once more. Not uncomfortable silence. Honest silence. The kind that appears when somebody finally says what nobody else has been willing to say. Your person looked away. For the first time that night, they stopped defending their feelings. They stopped explaining them. They stopped running from them. And the moment they did, another realization appeared. They had spent so much time trying to understand whether you mattered. They had never stopped to ask how much you mattered. There is a difference. A very big difference. One question searches for certainty. The other reveals it. As the hours passed, the conversation grew deeper. Then the brother shared something unexpected. Something he had never said before. He admitted that he had been observing your person's journey for a very long time. He had watched them meet new people. He had watched them start new chapters. He had watched them try to convince themselves that everything was fine. But there was one thing he could never ignore. Every important decision somehow led back to thoughts of you. Every emotional moment somehow led back to memories of you. Every future plan somehow contained a space where your name should have been. And then he said the sentence that completely transformed the atmosphere. I don't think you're trying to figure out if they are important. I think you're trying to figure out why they are. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Your person froze. Because suddenly the question was no longer about the past. It was about the present. Why after all this time did your present still feel so powerful? Why did your name still create emotions that no one else's name could create? Why did every attempt to forget only make the memory stronger? The brother didn't answer those questions. He simply let them exist. Sometimes the most powerful moments are not answers. They are questions that refuse to leave. And that is exactly what happened. Those questions stayed with your person long after the conversation ended. Long after the night ended. Long after everyone else had gone to sleep. Because somewhere deep inside, a realization was beginning to form. A realization they could no longer ignore. Later that night, when everything became quiet, your person found themselves sitting alone. No distractions. No conversations. No noise. Just thoughts. And among those thoughts was one memory that returned more clearly than any other. A memory connected to you. A memory they had not thought about in a very long time. Yet suddenly it felt fresh. Alive. Important. They remembered how they felt during that moment. They remembered what it meant. They remembered what they never said. And for the first time, they wondered whether some connections are meant to be forgotten at all. Stay till the end. Because what they realized next became the turning point. The brother's words continued echoing through their mind. Maybe you're not supposed to. Such a simple sentence. Yet it carried extraordinary weight. Because what if the reason you remained in their thoughts was not an accident? What if the reason your name kept appearing was because it belonged there? What if the feelings never disappeared because they were never meant to disappear? These questions followed your person into the next day. Into the next conversation. Into every quiet moment where their mind had room to think. And the more they thought, the clearer everything became. The story was not ending. The story was changing. Something was shifting beneath the surface. Something neither of you could fully see yet. But it was moving. Quietly. Steadily. Powerfully. And what your person discovered the very next day was even more surprising than anything their brother had said that night. Because a small event occurred. A simple moment. One unexpected reminder connected to you. Yet that reminder triggered a chain reaction nobody could have predicted. A chain reaction that would force your person to face a truth they had been avoiding for far too long. And when that truth finally arrived, there would be no pretending left. No hiding left. No confusion left. Only clarity. And that is where our story continues. The next morning began like any ordinary day, but your person had no idea that a single unexpected moment was about to confirm everything their brother had said. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They woke up thinking the conversation from the previous night would slowly fade away. They assumed the emotions would settle down. They assumed life would continue exactly as before. But that is not what happened. Instead, the very first thing that caught their attention reminded them of you. Not because they were looking for it. Not because they were searching. It simply appeared. Naturally. Unexpectedly. And the timing was impossible to ignore. Suddenly the words from their brother echoed louder than ever. Maybe you're not supposed to forget. Your person tried to focus on other things. Work. Responsibilities. Daily routines. Yet no matter what they did, their thoughts kept returning to the same place. Returning to the same name. Returning to the same feeling. For a while they questioned themselves. Was it coincidence? Was it nostalgia? Was it simply an old memory returning? But deep inside they knew this felt different. This felt bigger. Because the feeling was not about the past. It was about the present. And that realization changed everything. Stay till the end. Because the next discovery shocked even your person. Later that day they found themselves looking through old conversations, old memories, and old moments connected to you. At first they told themselves it was curiosity. Just curiosity. But the deeper they looked, the more they realized something unexpected. The happiest versions of themselves seemed connected to moments involving you. That realization hit harder than anything their brother had said. Because memories do not lie. Feelings can be hidden. Words can be avoided. But memories have a way of revealing the truth. Your person noticed something they had never noticed before. Every memory connected to you carried a different energy. A different feeling. A different kind of happiness. Not louder happiness. Not dramatic happiness. Genuine happiness. The kind that stays with someone long after the moment ends. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. And then another unexpected thing happened. Your person remembered a conversation they once had with you. A simple conversation. Nothing extraordinary at the time. Yet now it felt incredibly important. Because hidden inside that conversation was a feeling they never fully understood until now. A feeling of comfort. A feeling of connection. A feeling they had never been able to replace. Hours passed. Yet instead of becoming less emotional, the realization became stronger. Your person's brother had unknowingly opened a door that could no longer be closed. Every thought led back to the same conclusion. Every memory pointed in the same direction. Every question seemed to have the same answer. And slowly, very slowly, the truth began rising to the surface. The truth was not that they had forgotten you. The truth was that they never truly did. Stay till the end. Because what happened that evening became the biggest turning point so far. Your person received a simple message from someone. The message had nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. Yet somehow it started a conversation about life, relationships, and meaningful connections. During that conversation, one question appeared. A question so simple that nobody thought twice about it. The question was this: who is the first person you think about when something important happens? The moment your person heard that question, the answer appeared instantly. There was no hesitation. No confusion. No searching. The answer arrived before they could even stop it. And that answer was you. The realization stunned them. Because for the first time, there was no excuse left. No explanation left. No pretending left. The truth had arrived on its own. Your presence still lived inside the most important parts of their heart. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the evening continued, your person found themselves sitting quietly, replaying everything their brother had said. Suddenly every sentence made sense. Suddenly every observation felt accurate. Suddenly every ignored feeling demanded attention. Then came the moment that truly changed everything. Your person asked themselves a question they had never dared to ask before. Not, what if I move on? Not, what if I forget? Not, what if things never change? No. The question was completely different. The question was, what if this connection has been trying to teach me something all along? The moment that thought appeared, everything shifted. Because now the focus was no longer on losing. No longer on distance. No longer on uncertainty. The focus became understanding. Understanding why your name continued appearing in important moments. Understanding why your energy never disappeared. Understanding why the conversation with their brother felt less like a conversation and more like a wake-up call. And then something happened that your person never expected. They smiled. Not because they suddenly had all the answers. Not because every question was solved. But because for the first time in a long time, they stopped fighting the truth. They stopped resisting it. They stopped pretending it wasn't there. And the moment they accepted that truth, a strange peace appeared. A peace that had been missing for a very long time. Stay till the end. Because this is where the story becomes even more powerful. That night, before going to sleep, your person remembered one final sentence from their brother. A sentence that seemed ordinary at first. But now it carried extraordinary meaning. The brother had said, "The people who matter most don't disappear just because time passes." Those words echoed through the silence. Again and again. And with every repetition, your person understood them more deeply. Some connections survive distance. Some connections survive silence. Some connections survive time itself. And whether they wanted to admit it or not, yours was one of those connections. A realization had begun. A truth had awakened. And what your person chooses to do with that truth in the days ahead will create a chain of events that nobody expected. Because very soon, another conversation is coming. Another moment is approaching. Another revelation is waiting just around the corner. And when that revelation arrives, your person will finally understand why their brother's words changed everything.